Hello and welcome to the Goddess Tulsa Show. I'm your host, Goddess Tulsa. Thank you all for coming out. Tonight we have a great show for you tonight. If you would, please check that description and we will be right back. Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Goddess Tulsa After Dark. This is where you let your hair down, get you a beverage, prop your feet up or down. Now it's time to hit the like. Are you subscribed? Don't forget to hit that cash app because it's After Dark with the Goddess. Yes, it is definitely after dark in the daytime. However, I want to thank you all for coming out. I'm your host, Goddess Tulsa. Shout out to Ebony M in the building. She says, hello, everyone. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel as that helps our channel get us noticed out here on the YouTube streets. Hello, Andrea Nelson. How are you? I am so thankful. I am so blessed. As you guys know, I haven't been feeling my best the last few days, but I'm here today, and I couldn't let this blow over any longer. Shout out to Breonna Taylor and justice for Breonna Taylor. She is definitely getting her justice. As I said before, on these controversial YouTube streets, in reference to our brother Marvon. Justice for Marvon McCray. As we all know, Marvon McCray wife, was testing out some herbs, and eventually Marvon ended up in a coma. Yes, thank you so much. So Marvon he ended up in a coma because his wife wanted to choose herbs for him. Now, the wife said that, her husband tried to unalive himself, he tried to commit, that word. And so this really stood out to me. When you have this man that started off, in his first picture, he looks so healthy. And as you can see, as the stages go on, he begins to look more not so healthy. And so when we talk about the justice system, and this is something that I spoke on before, there are different justice systems, and sometimes we're overlooked as Black people. I want to share this clip with you just to make it all make sense. Being that we are talking about Breonna Taylor and the injustice in the system, I want you guys to take a look at this. And as I pull this up, I want to give a credit to Nonsense. He's here on YouTube. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's Nonsense. And pretty much Nonsense made it all make sense. Being that we are talking about the justice system and court system, this is all going to make sense. So please stay tuned with us.
Hey everyone, we're back with a follow-up to the last video, 2 in a day. This video ties into the last one, so if you have not watched my last video, this might not make much sense or why I'm addressing this topic in relation to the Marvon McCray situation. The upcoming clip deserved its own video. The amount of embarrassment I felt in this video and horror as I watched this clip. Many were unaware that Molly Golightly herself was who brought up race in regards to the Marvon McCray situation and case. Molly tried to get this discussion going 10 days previous to this, if not sooner. But now it seems like as soon as Black creators, specifically Black female creators, are involved, she wants to shut down that narrative. I'm going to post the next clip. Please understand it is kind of triggering for some people. So, this is your trigger warning. Also, as you're watching this next clip, it is a little bit lengthy, like I said. But while you're watching it, please keep in mind that Molly Golightly was the one to introduce the topic of race to the Marvon McRae situation. Yes, he is a Black man, but she specifically brought up the topic of race while his mother was on the phone and on the panel with her. And this is the night after her attack on Sherelle. She had attacked Sherelle's world the night before, and this was the follow up to that. Form your own opinions, but these are facts of the case. She has tried to shut this topic down ever since it's been picked up by other Black creators. But why is she trying to shut that down? It almost seems that it's only relevant if she brings it up. If you do want to watch the full video that this clip is from, you can find that on Molly Golightly's channel. It is from July 21st. Also, the people in the video are Queen Tulsa, Molly Golightly, LB, and Justice for All, aka Justin. You can find their links in the description of this video. Remember, these are just puzzle pieces. We're just piecing them all together. Again, I'm not going to interrupt the video because I think it's better to see it in its entirety.
This is probably going to ruffle a lot of people's feathers, but I'm just going to say it anyway.
Uh-oh. That's always fun when that starts out.
Yes. I feel like race had a lot to do with it. I feel like she used his past experience because he did, I guess, allegedly try to unalive himself in the past. And really, this is how I'm looking at the story. She wanted control over him so bad. You could tell in their conversations, even the arguments that they were having, you could just tell that she was more dominant. And all those.
Miss Tulsa, can you hold that thought for one quick second? Miss Letitia has put up a 7 minutes ago. Last I heard, she was in the hospital visiting her son. She said 7 minutes ago on Justice for Vaughn. First, I want to say how happy I was yesterday that I got to see my son. It was one of the best days I've had in a long time. I want to thank everyone that helped with making that possible. Tonight, I think we need to address the drama that's going around that's putting a damper on my son's story. I'm asking that everyone just stop. It's unnecessary, and I'm asking everyone involved to just stop. This is about Marvon. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's put our focus where it belongs and not on the drama. Let's stop letting people get us out of character.
I agree.
I thank all of you, and I pray that we can get back on course of getting justice for my son. Yeah.
Amen. Absolutely.
I agree.
I'm so glad I feel like she put that out at the best time.
At the best time. And the thing is I like, just like Justin said, like, we're not even going to talk about anything that's just has
distracting from the story.
I think Marissa was very triggered last night. I think, and
I had every right to be.
You did have every right to be, of course.
But you brought me down. You talked to me. You brought me down.
Yes.
And I apologize.
Yes, absolutely. And I just think it needs to be done. Like, no,
it is done.
Totally
done.
Yes.
Totally done. Names are now blocked from the chat.
Oh, good.
I blocked the names from the chat. I have been here trying to do my best to somehow be just helpful in some way to help these people that are in the Facebook groups.
Could I step in
You're
right
right.
quick?
It has nothing to do with race. I'm shocked that it ever got to that point. I don't feel that way. Like I said, I think it was more of a sex, a male female thing. I do. I think it's because.
Well, we're not even going to go into that, and we're not going to give it any more light.
No,
how I found out about the story is because you were talking about it. And yes, I picked up the story, and I feel like everybody, if you want to do a due diligence, definitely report on it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to take the focus away, like his mom said. We don't want to take the focus away of getting into it with somebody. We are here for a cause. Let's be here for that cause to make a difference. We're fighting. How are we getting anywhere? If we're going to be fighting, we need to be fighting for him and his rights.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, that police station, they dropped the ball. And this is what I want to say. Yeah. And I felt like her privilege got in the way of that. It was a Black woman and that was a white man. They would have immediately took her in. If she's doing all this stuff on social media, and a lot of people won't agree, but there are two different justice systems. There's different types of treatments there's different type of treatments in hospitals. Okay, so everybody just keep in mind that I'm saying there are two different justice systems, and the police department and the hospital with Blacks. When you talk about women giving birth, do your research. We'll continue. That Black people get.
As far as like incarcerations and stuff, you're absolutely right. There's more African Americans incarcerated.
Someone said she's Latina. She's a minority, right?
Her last name's Rodriguez, so she's got to be.
She's Latin, I think.
Latina.
I'm not trying to take away from what you're saying. Someone posted that in the chat. So, does she have the look?
Oh, it doesn't matter what they're saying because they're not up here talking.
Well, that's so rude, though, because they are in the chat, and I think everybody's comments matter. Like I want to be respected in what I say and what my thoughts are, and I want everybody else's too. People in the chat, I think they matter just as much.
Well, if they want to have an engagement, I would say just come up and talk. I wanted to say, it's a way to get it.
Not everybody wants to get on camera.
Slow it down, sis. Why are you so amped up? You're amped up, like you're coming for me.
She's not amped up.
No, not at all.
Okay, listen, let me just say this. As a Black woman, I feel like you're attacking me. I feel like you're attacking me at this point. You're over talking me. And what I said was, this is how I feel. I can't be racist. Black people can't be racist.
Oh, yes, they can.
But no, they can't.
Yes,
Black people cannot be, we can be prejudiced, but we cannot be racist, my love. We can be prejudiced, but we can't be racist. And I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem with people with no color. They want to discredit what Blacks go through. Y'all don't live in fear going out every day because of your skin color.
I do.
Because of your skin color, you feel afraid?
Yes.
What are you
afraid, Marissa, for your skin color?
Oh wow. That is nonsense. I'm calling bullshit. Molly, we can engage, but I'm calling bullshit on that.
But guess what? I just played a mind trick. I sound just as foolish by saying that. Because the truth is, I don't like the fact that African American people live in fear of being pulled over by the police. I don't like that. But a lot of times these things are happening because some African Americans are running away from them, going on the chases, blah, blah.
Are you supposed to be shot when you are running away? So you're justifying these shootings when they are running away with no weapons in their hand and they still get shot?
I think that when a cop
if you're running away, you shouldn't be shot.
Okay, but listen, we're not talking about police brutality. We're not talking about police brutality. We're talking about Marvon.
Listen. Yes, we're going to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's talk about Marvon. His mom just made a post.
When I'm speaking.
His mom just made a post about not having drama. Like I understand people
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking through that video. Let's go on a quick commercial break, and I'm going to have something else for you. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Goddess Tulsa After Dark. This is where you let your hair down, get you a beverage, prop your feet up or down. Now it's time to hit the like. Are you subscribed? Don't forget to hit that Cash App because it's After Dark with a Goddess. Hey, Tim, I see you down there. Tim says there is the justice system and the just us system. I totally 100% agree. Hello, Andrea. All the groups can be racist. Black people in America can't legally be racist. Okay, so I'm glad that we are talking about this because now that takes me into my next clip. So, as you heard the white lady, Molly Golightly, she said, Black people pretty much ask for it when they're going on these speed chases or when they're running away from the cops. Pretty much, she said they deserve to be unalived. And so she feels like, she's a white woman. She's scared to come out her house. Pure bullshit. That woman is sick. That woman is a racist, and this is what she believes in. And I'm surprised, I feel like these white people, they get into the police department so they can do their nefarious acts. So they can do these nefarious acts. And when I say that, it was a lot of clear people of no color creating these acts. And without further ado, I'm going to let the video speak for itself. Give me 1 second.
Do not walk by yourself. This is our city. This is our town.
For months in Kentucky, residents outraged by the killing of Breonna Taylor campaigned for the police officers who shot her to face charges.
Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Brett Hankison.
In September, a grand jury investigation indicted one officer for shooting into a neighboring apartment and no one for killing Taylor.
Is that the decision of the grand jury? I will grant the motion and assign bond in the amount of $15,000 for cash and issue a warrant.
Is that the only charge?
It can't be. No one has been held accountable. This is injustice, and this is the start clock for the next level of our protest.
What happened in the final minutes of Breonna Taylor's life? A full telling of that story has been impeded because none of the 7 police officers who raided her apartment used body cameras, a violation of police policy. But with the recent release of thousands of documents and images collected during 3 investigations, the Times initiated a fresh examination of the case. We used crime scene photos to create a precise model of Taylor's apartment. We forensically mapped out and retraced the first bullet fired by Taylor's boyfriend and the 32 bullets that police shot in return through windows, walls, and ceilings. Using interviews officers gave to investigators, we charted their movements as they carried out the raid. And we analysed hours of 911 calls, grand jury proceedings, and footage by the SWAT team that arrived after the shooting. Members of the grand jury have accused Kentucky's attorney.
Okay, so gods and goddesses, if you are just now coming in, we are now at the part of, we discussed the Marvin, the racistness of the people of no color that blatantly said on a live that white people are afraid to leave their houses. Well, you have a Black woman that was in her home, laying in her bed, and this happened. Continue to watch.
Attorney General Daniel Cameron of shielding the officers involved from homicide charges.
Our investigation found that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in their use of force.
Boom, 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 boom.
Sergeant Mattingly may have been justified in returning fire when he's fired upon, but our new analysis paints a more complicated picture about how this raid was compromised from beginning to end. We'll outline the flawed intelligence and tactical mistakes of a hodgepodge team of officers, their failure to properly announce their presence at Taylor's, the chaos and excessive use of force that ensued.
Okay, there's another hole right below the clock.
And we'll explore the damning analysis of an experienced SWAT commander who was called to the scene after the shooting.
We just got the feeling that night that something really bad happened.
The focus of the police investigation on March 13th is not Taylor's apartment, but properties 10 miles away in West Louisville.
Metro Police. Hands behind your back, boss. We're executing a search warrant. Come out.
Where dozens of SWAT and police officers arrest an ex-boyfriend of Taylor's and his associates and seize evidence including drugs. These officers are wearing their body cameras and they carry out the raid safely and without incident. What the SWAT team doesn't know is that at this time, a hastily assembled team of narcotics officers is about to raid Taylor's home across town. They suspect her ex-boyfriend keeps cash or drugs there, but their intel is poor. They don't know she has a new boyfriend and they think she lives alone. When 7 officers begin the raid at 12:40 a.m., they notice the lights are off, except for the flicker of a TV in a bedroom.
The light on the bedroom, the TV. I remember seeing it lit up blue, or when we pulled up.
Suggesting they know where Taylor is. In less than 3 minutes, she would be fatally shot. Inside, Taylor had dozed off while watching a movie with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Adjacent is the bedroom of Taylor's sister, but she's not home.
Now, again, gods and goddesses, this is a goddess and her god in their dwelling, in their palace, you know, where they paid their bills, where they then paid to stay there for that month, where they then paid their cable bill as to why that television was flickering. Comfortable, upstanding citizens in her home. She's been moved on. They've already got the ex-boyfriend. They already raided him on the other side of town. So on this side of town, they're thinking that she's single. And here we go. This is where it all falls down. And I hope the people of no color are watching this, because the same people that said that the justice system is equal to everybody, you were wrong. You were wrong. I'm outraged, and you should be too. Let's watch.
Home. A hallway from the bedrooms leads to a living area, and the apartment's entrance is in this breezeway. The only light is this lamp opposite her door, where now the police begin to stack. In this reconstruction, we hear the official testimonies given by the 2 officers nearest the door, Mattingly and Nobles, Cosgrove, who's providing cover, and Hoover and Hankinson beside them. And we'll hear from neighbors and Kenneth Walker, who was interviewed by police right after the shooting.
When we all got up in line, I knocked on the door, banged on it.
Just as Mattingly begins to knock, a man emerges from the apartment directly above. He doesn't live there, but is picking up his child after finishing work.
The door right there, that's why the babysitter leave. So I can go pick up my little girl.
A squabble with Detective Brett Hankinson ensues, and already the team seems on edge.
I remember Brett extending his gun saying, "Get back in your apartment, get back in your apartment." Brett was a little bit worked up. I remember looking at Brett saying, "Brett, relax. Brett, just relax, relax."
The man retreats inside. The police are supposed to be conducting a knock and announce raid, but that's not what Mattingly says happens at first.
We didn't announce the first couple because our intent was to give her plenty of time to come to the door.
Inside, Taylor wakes up.
So it's a loud bang at the door. She pops up out of sleep. It scared her to death. Me too. Like, who is that?
Banged on the door, no response. Banged on it again, no response. At that point, we started announcing ourselves.
Whether the police announce themselves clearly enough is a critical issue in this story that we'll return to later on. Not knowing who's at the door this late, Walker grabs his licensed handgun.
Another knock at the door. She's like, "Who is it?" Loud at the top of her lungs. No response. So I'm like, what the heck?
They rush to get dressed and walk toward the door.
Never even made it like mid hallway. But as loud as we were screaming to say who it is, I know whoever would be on the other side of the door could hear us.
Outside, some of the police do hear Taylor.
I can hear somebody inside. I kept telling John, I can hear her.
But after knocking and waiting for around 45 seconds, they decided they've given her enough time to respond and rammed the door open.
The last time, I just said, let's just hit it. And that's when we did the, police search warrant.
We'll show here what the police and Walker describe seeing next.
And I hit it. After the third hit, it flew open. And that's when it hit the fan.
As we're coming to the door like comes off the hinges like an explosion.
The officers now make a tactical mistake. Mattingly steps into the doorway and puts himself in what police describe as the fatal funnel, a position vulnerable to gunfire and hard to move from.
I could see down the hallway, and there's the male and a female side by side, shoulder to shoulder, almost like they were together.
The apartment is lit only by the breezeway light that's coming from behind Mattingly and the faint glare of the TV in Taylor's bedroom.
You can't see anybody though.
Okay, just for fair use purposes, you guys know I have to stop the video here and there just to get my commentary, just to let you guys know how I'm feeling. So as you guys heard, there was someone upstairs. They had come out and, they're like, what's going on? And the officers tell him to go back into his apartment. Now, Breonna and her new man is saying, who is it? Who is it? They're not responding back to them. And so here's what happens next.
No, it was dark. There was no lights.
Thinking it's an intruder, Walker aims low, shoots once, and hits Mattingly in the thigh.
I feel like I aimed down because I wasn't, of course, I don't need to kill anybody. So I just let off one shot.
Mattingly immediately returns fire.
I got 4 rounds off, and it was like boom, 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 boom.
Then all of a sudden, there's a whole lot of shots.
Mattingly fires 2 more rounds when he falls and takes cover. Almost at the same time, Cosgrove moves in and fires, stepping on Mattingly in the process. He has now also put himself in the fatal funnel, and although he's shooting, he appears to have no idea what's happening.
I see blinding, vivid white light and blackness at the same time. I don't hear any gunfire at all, ever. And I did not have any pain sensation or any recollection that I'm firing.
He continues shooting blindly until he runs out of ammunition, a total of 16 rounds.
If you told me I didn't fire a gun, I'd be like, okay, I believe you.
In response to Walker's shot, Mattingly and Cosgrove together fire 4 shots into a chair, cupboards, and a stove in the kitchen. 2 bullets go into the ceiling and pass through the living room in the apartment above, where the man, his 2-year-old daughter, and babysitter waited. 3 more shots go into the living room wall to the right. And the officers fire 13 rounds down the hallway where Taylor and Walker stood. Taylor is shot 6 times on both sides of her body, in the abdomen and chest, her arm and leg, and twice in her foot. In all, these 2 officers fired 22 rounds in less than a minute. An FBI ballistics report found that both of them shot Taylor, and that one of the 16 rounds Cosgrove fired was the lethal bullet.
We both dropped to the ground, but I just hear her screaming, and
thinking they're under attack, some of the officers flee when they hear a pause in shooting.
There was a little bitty moment of no shots. I was like, here's the time to go. And then it all started up again.
We don't know the precise sequence of events, but Detective Hankinson runs to the front.
I can hear the firing as I'm making the corner. I can see the flashes, the muzzle flashes.
But the only ones shooting are police. Even though all the curtains are drawn, Hankinson blindly fires 5 bullets through the patio windows.
My only option was to return fire, and I did that to the muzzle flashes.
He moves and fires 5 more rounds through the bedroom window of Taylor's sister, who isn't home. 2 bullets fly over Walker and Taylor, but none hits them. The bullets that go into the living area.
Okay, guys, the nefariousness of it all, and praise God, her sister was not home. because she allegedly could have been unalived as well. But just imagine being in your home, somebody's, making noise at your door. You're asking who is it? They're not saying nothing. And before you know it, gunshots are ringing off in your house. And how they're plotting and planning, it just seems like everybody was raged up. Everybody was on 10. But we'll continue.
Pass over Taylor's sofa and kitchen table and smash her clock. 3 penetrate the wall and enter her neighbor's apartment. Those bullets also smash the kitchen table, hit a wall, and shatter the patio doors at the rear. A pregnant woman, her son, and partner were home. Hankinson has been charged with wantonly endangering their lives. In total, the police fire 32 bullets, penetrating almost every room in Taylor's apartment. They hit saucepans, cereal boxes, and smash into her shower. They puncture shoes, shatter cleaning equipment, and land in her sister's clothing. And 3 minutes after police came to search her home, a fatally wounded Taylor is lying on the ground.
I'm just panicking and I'm telling somebody, I'm yelling help because she's right here bleeding and nobody's coming, and I'm just confused and scared, and I feel the same right now. That's it.
Months later, when Attorney General Daniel Cameron presented the charges against Hankinson and said that Mattingly and Cosgrove's actions were justified, he emphasized that police did properly announce themselves.
Evidence shows that officers both knocked and announced their presence at the apartment.
But actually, the evidence is far from clear. In 911 calls immediately after the shooting, Taylor's neighbors don't know police are carrying out a raid.
Please get a police out here. They are shooting bad. Something's going on next door, and there's bullet holes all the way through the wall, through our glass. I have a 5-year-old in here, so something needs to be explained to me.
And in statements police took afterwards, none of Taylor's neighbors heard the officers announce. This apartment's patio door was open.
I mean, I was completely unaware that it was cops.
2 teenagers in this apartment heard a commotion, but didn't hear police announce through their open window, their mom said.
They told me that nothing was said, that they just beat on the door. I said, so y'all don't know if it was them? She was like, they didn't say nothing. They just beat on the door.
And the family who lived directly above Taylor also heard nothing.
Before the gunshots come out, did you hear anything?
You know what really disturbs me is the cops can say what they want, and they get away with it. And just imagine how many times they've been getting away with things like this before body cams were even mentioned. I feel like every cop should have that body cam rolling at all times. No exceptions. They should be written. There should be some consequences, repercussions if that body cam is not on. Those are my thoughts. Those are my feelings. We'll be right back.
Conversations or anything like that, people talking? No.
In their statements and in interviews with the Times, over a dozen neighbors say they did not hear the police. Attorney General Cameron's assertion rests on the accounts of police officers and a single witness, Aaron Sarpy, the man collecting his daughter that night and who saw the police when he came outside. In his first interview with investigators, Sarpy was asked what he heard when he went back inside.
Did you ever hear anyone identify themselves as police?
No, nobody identified themselves.
Months later, he told police his memory was foggy, but that he thought officers did announce. And beyond what the police said, this critical grand jury conclusion rested on his entirely inconsistent account. After the raid, the scene outside is chaos. Officers tend to Mattingly, but an ambulance that had been staging nearby is nowhere to be found.
Fuck is EMS? Somebody give me the radio with SWAT on it.
They radio the SWAT officers across town.
EMS on Spring.
Who are surprised by the call.
Where's Springfield? They're requesting armor down there. We're gonna go ahead and take it.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
They head for Taylor's address.
It's an apartment.
I didn't know they were in that tonight. I knew it was part of the investigation.
As SWAT arrives, close to 40 police vehicles are already at the scene. Around this time, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being arrested.
You've been hit by a bullet. That's unfortunate. Keep walking backwards.
Hey, come on, we need to get moving because there might be a victim inside.
Keep walking backwards. You're scared, right?
Walk back, I don't send this stuff.
Now, did you just hear this white devil say, "You're scared"? Hell yeah, he's scared. Hell yeah, he's scared. What the hell do you expect for a person to? What type of what type of mood do you expect a person to be in when y'all just let off about damn near 40 rounds? Who wouldn't be shaken up? But we'll continue.
Walk back to me.
Walker had called 911 and neighbors had heard his pleas for help.
You're in a fucking prison. That's what's going on.
But at 1 a.m., almost 20 minutes after the shooting, the police still don't know Taylor is critically injured inside.
There's somebody in there dead?
Yeah, my girlfriend. It's her house.
We have to go in if there's somebody.
Yeah. What is this about? My girlfriend is dead.
I don't get. Keep walking.
As Walker is being led out, SWAT gets ready to secure the apartment.
Hey, there's a kid upstairs. He's not. It's a kid upstairs, little kid. What the? Hey, front door, front door. Yeah, front door. Moving. Short. Clear. Left side clear. Go ahead and get EMS in here. Check your pulse.
Only now, half an hour after the raid began, does an EMT finally check Taylor.
Yeah, you're right there.
And later, as two officers stand guard, they take in the scene. They see Taylor's uniform. She worked as an emergency room technician in city hospitals. They note the bullet holes.
Body level. Hey, can anybody advise if we talk to the neighbors directly about this apartment? There's gunshot holes and ceiling.
Outside, the SWAT officers debrief on what they've seen.
Hey, camera's off there, Mike.
Yeah, mine's off. This is the fucking one that said it is today.
The SWAT commander who was called to Taylor's home after the raid was later interviewed by investigators.
We just got the feeling that night that something really bad happened.
Dale Massey, a 20-year police veteran, was highly critical of what unfolded. He said there was no coordination with SWAT.
We had no idea they were going to be at that apartment that night. I would have advised them 100% not to do it.
And that executing another warrant at the same time may have compromised Taylor's safety.
We treat safety very important, right? So like simultaneous warrants, bad business.
Narcotics officers testified that they didn't know Taylor had a new boyfriend, that her sister lived there, or that her 2-year-old goddaughter regularly stayed. Massey said the department had a history of poor intelligence gathering.
Back in the day, we would take a lot of detective information and take it as golden. Not anymore, because so often there's no kids, there's no dogs, we're told, there's kids and dogs. So we have an exhaustive recon process that we go through.
He said standing in the doorway, the fatal funnel, as Mattingly and Cosgrove had, was a tactical mistake.
Is it practical or is it even common for 3 people to be in what we consider the fatal funnel?
Absolutely not. No, you would never put, yourself in that situation.
And that there's a right way and a wrong way to conduct a raid. You knock, announce, and give people ample time to leave.
We're not going to rush in to get dope. We're not going to treat human life's more important than any amount of dope, right?
And just to be clear, no drugs were ever found at Taylor's. His harshest criticism was of Hankinson's blind shots into the apartment.
You have to know, A, what you're shooting at, B, what's in front of it, and B, what's behind it. There's no other way you can operate. It was just an egregious act.
Under Kentucky law, Kenneth Walker had a right to stand his ground against what he believed was an aggressor, and the police in turn have a right to self-defense. But in this analysis, the killing of Breonna Taylor resulted from poor planning compounded by reckless execution. Louisville has instituted police reforms, and Taylor's family received a substantial settlement. But the case isn't closed. Investigations and lawsuits are ongoing, and 9 months after Taylor was killed, her family is seeking a fresh inquiry into the officers involved.
Thank you all for sticking with me through the interview. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for those that want to come up and sound off. This tragedy, this malicious tragedy, which is very uncalled for, and it's very unfortunate and heartbreaking. You know, a bright life was lost. And let's go ahead and give our sister a moment of silence as we um, just thank her for her service. She was a ER, she was a serviceman in the ER. And so, without further ado, let's just go ahead and give our sister a moment of silence and let's just reflect on her life and all the goodness that she put out.